Well, disinformation and conspiracy theories have been a recurring problem with natural disasters. Katie Nicolau is a meteorologist who has been receiving death threats after she reported on Hurricane Milton. Katie, so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining the program. Could you briefly tell us what happened to you?
Yes, I was doing what I normally do in terms of engaging people about the weather, and a post seemed to strike a chord when I said you couldn't blow up hurricanes with a nuke. And instead, a person opted to suggest stopping the breathing of people associated with, in his mind, creating these storms, which is a threat that is unfortunately apparently happening to a lot of meteorologists in my field.
How does that make you feel?
It's disheartening. These kinds of threats, they're nothing new. I've had people threaten to kill me over telling them that icicles could have bird poop in them. So when you enter this field, you kind of learn very quickly that that's a possibility. But to see the scope of it and the scale of it, especially around Milton, is concerning to say the least.
Mm-hmm. In this case, part of the disinformation came from high-ranking politicians, people the public really trusts. How worried are you about that aspect?
Well, it's interesting. When it comes to what I engage with online, it depends on where they are, if these people are even real. They could be bots. And so instead of really pinning down who these people are, it's just kind of like talking into an empty abyss. And you don't know what's happening on the other side. All we can do is see what they engage with us as and try to answer as many questions as we can.
And let's look at the real life repercussions of what happens online. How can, false information, disinformation, misinformation impact disaster response in the wake of hurricanes like Milton?
Certainly. One of the big things that comes from it is you get people who will post something online for clicks or engagement that's completely false. And then people who wouldn't know any better, just see it pop up in their algorithm, take that as the truth. And then they potentially spread that information. And so even just one post with 1 million views can have massive stretching repercussions. It's like a root system. And unfortunately, meteorologists can't go and find each and every one of those people to tell them, hold on, that was bad information. This is actually the real thing. And so it's kind of like putting out 1 million fires with only one fire extinguisher. Mm-hmm. And we're doing the best we can, but it's a problem because you'll get people, for example, with Milton, who said that it turned into a Category 6 hurricane. A Category 6 hurricane doesn't exist. The scale stops at a 5. And so now you have people wondering, well, wait, are you lying to us by saying it's only a Category 5? Someone else said it was a Category 6. And that just adds a layer of confusion that really isn't needed in these kinds of situations.
Mm-hmm. The fact that Milton turned out not to be as devastating as meteorologists widely predicted, do you expect that to play in the hands of those willfully spreading disinformation?
Well, it's interesting. I was talking with a couple of colleagues how earlier, before Milton, we were told that we can be wrong half the time and still get paid, which isn't true either. And now people are saying that we can control the weather exactly down to where it hits and the strength of it. Those are true. We're just a bunch of nerdy kids who grew up to become meteorologists trying to help people. And so now, especially after Milton, when we tried to convey hurricane information, you have a scale with the category scale. You have forecast cones and a lot of information that can be very tricky to ingest, especially if people are just catching it in quick little news clips or online articles. And so you already have a layer of question as to why and how, and now you have extra questions as to why did it weaken. And that's a lot more than what I could explain in a quick 3-minute news segment when it comes to like my regular forecast or other people's forecasts. So time is definitely a factor when it comes to explaining what's going on right after an event.
And unfortunately, we are out of time, though. As meteorologist Katie Nicolau, don't let the haters get you down. Keep doing what you're doing. Many thanks, and please be well.
Thank you. You as well.